We're still scrolling through our comments, answering the top 10 questions that we've received from our listeners and viewers. That's coming up next on Unhitched with the Concrete Camper and Glamper.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back to another episode of Unhitched with the Concrete Camper and the Glamper.
It seems like we receive a lot of questions about your truck versus configurations, the weight. I think sort of bucketing all of those, sort of the most common question is, do you regret not getting a diesel?
So my current truck that I have, and you know, it all came to fruition essentially. That, and I think we talked about this previously on the podcast. You know, I had a Ram 1500, you know, and it loved it. It was great.
Until it wasn't.
I mean, it had some engine trouble, some engine problems. So that essentially forced me to go and find a truck, because we were also picking up our first RV that weekend. So it was like a Wednesday. So I had been, you know, scouring, looking around, and ended up finding my 2020 Ram Power Wagon. And it is really built for off-road. Love the look of it. It's what I wanted in a truck. And it had the ability to tow what we were going to pick up, which is, you know, Trina May today. And it had the capacity that I was looking for. So it worked out, I guess. You know, it just kind of went together. But yes, it is a 2020 Ram Power Wagon. And then it tows Trina May just fine. We haven't had any issues. You know, she does well. She does well, and I enjoy it. So, you know, hopefully, knock on some serious wood, things continue to go that way, because, you know, there's a lot of options out there. But to answer that question, to me, it's a good match. It's a perfect match. It matches up. And all the equipment that we have as far as sway bars, you know, we have that in place, and as well as, you know, weight distribution bars.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you hear a little thunder behind us.
Yeah, it's starting to rain, guys.
Yes, but I am not in the RV, so all is well. I knew the storm was coming. I'm not worried about the wind. And so my nerves are just A-OK.
Also, just to clarify, it is a 2020 Ram Power Wagon 2500. So it is gas. And do I regret not getting a diesel? Not so much at this point. I do like the idea of a diesel, and we are really getting some storms here, guys. Stuff is flickering and going on and going off. So, but look, to be straightforward, during the time I bought this, diesel, gas, and everything was super expensive, right? And we've seen that. So at this point, no, I don't regret not getting a diesel. But in the future, would I consider it? Yes, I will be considering that strongly.
And then just kind of a selfish plug here that if you are watching on YouTube and the flickering is bothering you, switch over to YouTube Music, and that way you can listen to the podcast and the flickering of the lights won't impact you at all.
Nice plug.
But kind of in the same vein, and we've received questions about, now that you've been in Trina May, is there anything that you would change? Do you wish that you would have purchased a fifth wheel? And that's kind of like twofold. Number one, our truck, as much as we love it, it won't, the tow capacity won't allow for us to do a fifth wheel.
No.
But number two, I really do love Trina May. I love the ease of having a 30-foot travel trailer. I feel like it gives us some flexibility when we're traveling and having to maneuver in and out of various situations, that it's not a whole thing where we have to rely on truck stops. You know, we're so long that, you know, we can't whip into some of these little smaller gas stations or rest stops or parking lots. And so that's a bonus.
Well, that also goes with the diesel, right? So, you know, I'd have to get in, you know, if we went to Flying J's or whatever it may be out there, or Buc-ee's, well, Buc-ee's doesn't count for that, but there are truck stops,
Right.
like a Love's, right? Let's say a Love's. So
And it's a headache.
it is, and those boys and his trucks don't play.
And they're, excuse me, truck drivers, but I feel like you might have a little saltiness toward RVers. Some of you.
Well, funny you should say that, because I was actually reading some comments from truck drivers, and it's not that they don't like us. They have had it only takes one bad experience, right? They just feel that RVers drive unsafely. They feel like, we have to have a CDL or a license, to drive our vehicles, but you guys just get to hook
Ride
up
around and get it. Ride around and get it.
and just do what you want to do. And, you're going above the speed limit. You don't have to have stop brakes. So, and again, from their perspective now, there's money on the line. They got to get where they got to get, and they can only drive a certain amount of hours. So that was kind of their standpoint of, hey, not that we don't like you guys, but sometimes some of you all are unsafe.
And you're messing with my money.
And you're messing with my money, right?
I can understand that.
So,
and then it's sort of like to close the loop on this whole truck RV type piece. Another question that we seem to frequently receive is, what are our thoughts on the fifth wheel? And I would say, if it's blue sky, everything was great, we had something to tow it with, I would explore it, because, let's be frank, there are some beautiful floor plans.
Yes, there are.
Any option that you want in terms of storage and just capacity to roll your home and condo out on the road is really, really impressive. So
yeah, I am mad at you fifth wheelers, man.
Yes.
Because that is true luxury on wheels, and just the freedom and the space, But hey, again, we're only 2 in.
Yes,
so.
And that's not our reality. So
No.
The short answer is yes, I would wholeheartedly support exploring a fifth wheel, but the reality is Trina May is what we're riding in, and I love her. So
Yeah, and I love my truck. So that would be a total makeover. So maybe in the future, if we have a good reason to, I guess I don't want to call it an upgrade, but make a change.
upgrade.
Nothing wrong with getting new stuff now. Hey,
No.
A dually is calling a brother. I'm good to go. Let's do it.
Okay. Next question. Another one, I would say, sort of the number 8 that we receive frequently is in reference to discounts and memberships. And so we've talked about this on a number of occasions about how do you receive discounts, but specifically we've received a number of questions about Good Sam membership and the RV resorts that we're visiting, primarily Good Sam members. And I would say the answer to that is no. It really is a mixed bag. Based off of our experience, I can't say they've been nicer or better if it's a Good Sam membership or not. I think there's just a lot of variety out there.
Yeah, and sometimes, self-admittedly, guys, sometimes we forget to ask about it. So, just we try and make it a practice and a habit, because we are paying for it. It's a yearly membership.
And well worth the membership. You receive your membership fees in terms of discount within that first year, especially if you're RVing multiple times a year. So highly recommend a Good Sam.
That's more your area, so I don't get involved in that.
I recommend it.
No, if it saves us money, I'm all on board.
It saves us money, real money.
All right, I'm gonna take your word for it. So, what's the next question we got up?
I would say number 9 in terms of frequency of the comments, questions that we've received are in reference to how far in advance do we typically make our reservations. Mm-hmm. And since reservations, sort of the initial planning falls on me, I would say the rule of thumb for me is I'm typically operating at least 4 months in advance. We have a trip that's coming up for 4th of July week that about 4 months ago we confirmed and started that planning process. Other than maybe one location we were able to get in where we wanted to, there was a particular location that we were looking at as a stopover that they were already filled because it fell on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, there's a holiday weekend.
Yeah,
so.
and so that's understandable, but we were flexible. We found an alternative site. But in general, I know in the past, reservations have been this really big thing that you needed to make reservations a year in advance. And there are some locations that is advisable. And there are some locations that the bonus is for you that if you're there, you know you want to come back next year, go ahead, roll over that deposit. You may receive a discount if you go ahead and make those reservations. But generally speaking, in the climate right now, at least 4 months in advance for some of your larger trips, it's not a problem. We do know that there's a couple of dates and months that we have circled for next year.
Yeah.
And although they're circled, I still haven't made reservations next year, and I don't feel panicked or the pressure to do that.
No, I mean, typically we start planning for the next year right around like the Thanksgiving time. It just kind of makes sense to kind of, all right, map out. We, hit the end of the year and then we start making plans. And when I say making plans, actually making phone calls. Like, can we get in? Can we, So, I mean, I would just say the earlier the better. There's nothing wrong. If you're at a resort and you're like, dude, I really love this place and I want to come back, go into the office, book it. You can always cancel it. But, I mean, I would say book it. And, if it's for a holiday, see what they have because they're more than willing to help you with that. So it's a good idea.
And I would say in the caveat to that, when you're like, if you like it, you can always cancel. I've expressed in the past that I feel a certain kind of way when I have to pay in full. So if it is a location where I have to pay in full or their cancellation policies are very strict, then that's somewhere that I'm just not going to book in advance of 4 to 6 months. But if you have, which a lot of campsites out there, that as long as you're giving them notice within, at least 14 days, you either get a refund, you can roll it into another date, and it's not that big of a deal. So
yeah, because we've definitely done that. I think we might have a deposit or two still sitting out there
because
for
life
a day
happens,
or two, right?
right? Life happens.
Yeah, but all right, cool.
And then to wrap this up, I would say, kind of surprisingly, the top 10, the number one question that we receive a lot of questions about is the Alvantor tent.
Yeah, the Alvantor tent. So if you haven't seen that video, please go check it out. But we are big fans of Alvantor. And realistically, it was the tent that we found that worked best for us. So much that we bought two of them. We have two of them, and it goes on every trip. No matter where we're going, it goes with us.
And regardless of the time of year, it goes with us as well.
Right. And so some of the things that's just in regards to, let me address this. So I've been asked, can you cook inside of it, grill inside of it? I would highly discourage you from doing that. It is fabric and mesh, and you don't want to do that. Please don't do that. We've never done it, never even thought about it. So no. It is really for, insect repellent, to keep you away from the insects, right? It's a screen tent. They do sell a lot of different attachments and pieces that can, guard you from the sun or give you privacy. Right. We bought those privacy curtains, but again, it's just what worked for us. And if someone's looking for a tent and you trust us and you like what we've done, we recommend it to you.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
enjoy it. It comes in multiple sizes. We got a 10 by 10. I think they do a 12 by 12. They might even do a 15 by 15 and larger. They got different models. Like I think they'll do a bubble tent, I think because that was during COVID. That was big for restaurants.
The clear bubble tents.
Yeah, where you can go and you can sit outside and have dinner, but you were in your own confinement space. So,
And that is a waterproof version of it, but we just have not used it. So the one that we are always speaking about is a screen tent. We primarily use it in the evenings, and so sun and shade is not what we use it for. We really do use it in those late evening, afternoon hours, or in the day when we're somewhere in an environment, maybe in the spring where there's bees buzzing
Yellow
around
jackets.
and yellow jackets.
Yeah.
But we use it primarily as a bug repellent / defender / keeping all the little critters away, and we love it. And it goes up in less than a minute or two.
Right. Easy up, easy down.
Lightweight.
Yeah.
We've been creative. We've shared with you how we use like water jugs to weight it down if it's a little bit windy, but
to each his own. I mean, we enjoy it, but if you're looking for something to grill in and, be a full, protector from the sun,
this is not it.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. You may want to find another product. But for our purposes and our intents purposes, it's been fantastic and we enjoy it.
Absolutely. And if you want to check it out, we do have an Amazon store. And so you can find the link in the description and it'll share with you the tent in which that we have and the one that in which we love.
Yep.
All right. So what's next? I'll say what though before we get out of here for this latest episode of Unhitched with the Concrete Camper and Glamper. Reggie, what is the word on the concrete curve?
All right, here we go. So this week we recently heard a little rumblings about Camping World. So essentially, it sounds like Camping World is going to start an OEM exclusive dealership format.
And so what does that mean, a OEM exclusive dealership format?
So what looks like they're looking to do here is partner with some manufacturers, right? And essentially it says from the article, under this format, select individual dealerships will be dedicated exclusively to selling, servicing, and showcasing that brand. They use Jayco, for example, right? So, and this is the latest innovation in product offering with a tailored brand-specific customer experience and specialized staff training. So it sounds like Camping World's getting into the dealership game, and it sounds like they'll be picking select manufacturers to represent them and to partner with and sell. So that is kind of interesting. There's some dealerships, I guess, that they'll be opening up.
Yeah. And I mean, and part of that article mentioned of their desire that in the next 5 years that they have a target of opening 50% more of Camping World stores. And so that's really interesting of how that's going to affect the market. I would be interested to see how that's going to affect the price. Because when you're reading the article, it mentioned how they wanted to sort of do 3 things of open, acquire, and convert manufacturer exclusive locations. And so what that means for the industry, yet to be determined.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely intriguing are we talking, I hate to say the word monopoly, or is it?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I think, when you look at the challenges of some dealerships, smaller dealerships, because according to the article too, like Matt Wagner, the COO of Camping World, he stated that we believe the strategy widens the acquisition funnel to include dealers with a smaller real estate format or those located near established Camping World dealerships. Where we can have access to a multitude of brands that compete in the same segment. So, is it a profit move? Of course, but it also can maybe help out some smaller struggling dealers that, it's a Camping World dealer, we specialize in this.
And ultimately from a consumer standpoint, it may also mean more product offering. But one thing that I did like in hearing this announcement is I like the fact that they were having manufacturer exclusive locations where the goal is hopefully the staff is more knowledgeable and trained and can better educate you as a consumer specifically on a brand. So I think that is a bonus of all of this.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think it helps out too that, hopefully they won't try and oversell you and underdeliver you. So what's cool, they did release, about I think 9 locations that'll be coming up in this in the first wave. So looks like it's going to be Oklahoma City, Macon, Georgia. Shout out to the GA. Northern Michigan. It looks like La Mirada, California, Redding, California, St. George, Utah, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Go Pack, go. And then there's a Lakeville, Minnesota, and Little Rock, Arkansas. So if you're in those states, maybe be on the lookout for new Camping World dealerships, and love to see if you guys have feedback on that or you see them out there. We'd love to hear about it and see what your experience is. I mean, heck, it might be worth a trip down to Macon just to see what they're all about.
Do I hear a road trip?
Could be road trip. Let's take this podcast on the road, people. See if we can sit down with somebody.
Would love that opportunity.
Camping World, if you're listening.
Call us. So, as always, we thank you all for joining us and continue to support us. We encourage you to like and subscribe to our content for those of you who are viewing us on the traditional video YouTube format. And for those of you who are listening to us on YouTube Music, we encourage you to continue to download our content. And as always, we'll see you next episode, and we'll continue to chase the sun, sand, and sea
in our RV.